Hello, Book Tube. This is Alan. I'm here for Friday Reads. Hope everybody's week has gone well. Got a haircut yesterday. The uh, the guy that cut my hair was actually works out at the same gym I do, and the haircut was only $4. And it was at a barber college over not far from where I live. And so I just walked up there in the 100-degree heat to get my haircut. And of course, you had to sign the form before you go in. And you ask you questions like if you had a code, a diarrhea, things of this nature. And then you take note of all those. And they give you temperature. Then you go in and pay you $4 and you go in. And it's right, the school is there. And there's a lot of people in there. It's a huge place, barber shop. And yeah, you have student barbers there. So the guy that was cutting my hair is from Puerto Rico. And he was telling me that in Puerto Rico there is a lot of corruption going on with the COVID-19 deaths. Well, that's just like every other country. Italy, saw a video on Instagram where somebody posted it and said that a member of the Italian Parliament, I think that's the name, was up there condemning some of these people, saying that, hey, these people didn't die of COVID-19, and yet you're saying they did die of COVID-19 just because you wanted to get money from the World Bank. And that's what countries are doing. They're claiming that somebody who died like of cancer or heart disease or died in a car wreck died of COVID-19. That way they can get money from the World Bank or the United Nations. Same way here in the United States, where you have people hospitals who get money from the government. And when someone dies of COVID-19, even though they didn't die of COVID-19. There's an incident where a teenager died in a motorcycle accident, and they said, oh, he died of COVID-19. That way the hospitals can get the money. This is corrupt. Government's becoming corrupt with this, with money-hungry hospitals doing this. And it's run by a guy who's head of the World Health Organization, who was corrupt before he became director of the World Health Organization. And that's a fact. You can look that up. So anyway, after the haircut, I went and bought me some pens at the dollar store. And these are the retractable gel pens. And these are 0.7 millimeters. I guess that's what it is. mm. And I like these kind of pens. And so I add this to my collection. I have about 500 pens. And they're cheap ones. They're like Bics or something like that. Big pens. Something like this. So I just add this to my collection. But they had different colors, which I thought was pretty cool. I got my New York Review of Books publication in the mail. And of course, it's had different articles in here. And they have different places from different publications for printing their books for sale. There's Poland 1939, excuse me, 1939. Steve Donahue actually reviewed this for his Open Letters review. So he has a review of this one here. And then Sword and Shield about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. And then you have The Broken Heart of America, No Man's Land, The Fortress, and Hitler's First 100 Days. So I thought that was pretty cool. Summers are not very good reading week for me, or reading month, excuse me, especially August. I just have a tendency to just slow down a lot in my reading. Finished the incident. Uh, I forgot the name now. It was a cozy mystery series that I mentioned this past Monday. Ashley Weaver, part of the Amer Ames uh, series of mysteries, and it started with the murder of Brighton, which is book 1, and this is book 7, which comes out in September. And I got the book from Neck Alley. Incident at Thorn Castle. Forgot the last. I'm sorry, I forgot the last name. There's a lady I follow on Instagram. She had requested 700 books from Neck Alley and got approved for all 700 of them just this year, coming out this year. And she has written reviews of 400 reviews. And I still have let me check on my book, on my Neck Alley account. I've written the books down. People will tab what I've written. And I have 17 books that I requested from Neck Alley, and I got approved for all 17 of them. And I still have, I finished a lot. I finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them. I finished 13 of them. Oh, here it is. The Deception at Thorncrest, which comes out the 8th of September. And so I finished that one and need to write a review for it and post it on Neck Alley and Goodreads. But I have, see what I have left. The book collectors, which you watch Steve Donahue's channel, the book collectors, he showed that book. And I'm going to be reading that, but that doesn't come out until October. And in November, I have three books coming out. One is called Wild Minds. And Wild Minds, which actually comes out in December the 11th, the Wild Minds is about the comics and the animation. I think it's before Disney. And I also have a book from Neck Alley coming out, which is due out February of next year, called The Paris Library. So I have a couple of them, but not 700, just like that lady does. So I'm also reading Suetonius's The 12 Caesars, hosted by Read Along, hosted by Jack at the Rebel and Racketeer. And I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully my reading will catch up to what he is doing. Sometimes I fall behind in read-alongs. I actually just don't finish them. I picked up 2 books today from the thrift store. The first one is called The Tides of War by Stephen Pressfield. This is a historical fiction novel of the Peloponnesian War. And on the back it says, brilliant war, master of politics, and a charismatic lover, Alcibiades was Athens' favorite son and city's greatest general. A practical follower of Socrates, he embodied both the best and worst of the golden age of Greece. Commander of both land and sea, led his armies to victory after victory, but like the heroes in great Greek tragedy, he was a victim of his own pride, arrogance, excess, and ambition. Accused of crimes against the state, he was banished from his beloved Athens, only to take arms in service of his former enemies. So this would be interesting about the Peloponnesian War by Stephen Pressfield. And that's good. And I like the cover on that one. With the ships and the bird, kind of like a seas on fire. The next one I picked up is a book by Michael Blow. This is called A Ship to Remember, the Maine and the Spanish-American War. This was came out. It's published by William Moreau and Company of New York, and this is the first edition, and it came out in 1992. And read you a little bit about this. On misty Tuesday evening of February 15th, 1898, the battleship Maine blew up in the Havana Harbor with a loss of 260 lives. Court of inquiry determined that a mine had caused the disaster. No blame was assigned. Yet the United States soon rushed into a war that thrust on a course of expansion, brought responsibilities, commitment that still plagued the nation almost a century later. And A Ship to Remember tells of two riveting stories. The first is the mystery of the Maine, how, why, and by whom she was destroyed, and Michael Blow's vivid account of the tragedy and ensuing investigations is the most comprehensive ever published. The larger narrative of the book is a full-scale history of the Spanish-American War and the satellite conflicts, the Cuban Revolution of 1898, and the Philippine insurrection of 1899-1902. Blow dramatically recreates the major battles of the war and gives new meaning to the consequences. As one naval officer put it, an hour or two at Manila, an hour or two at Santiago, and the maps of the world will change. So it has a little inset here with the Florida and Cuba and the different lines going through it and how they attacked. And it also has some photos in here. This is the last photo of the Maine up here. And let's see if I can find one. We have a lot of photos, and you have Ron McKinley, who was so restrained and trying to slow the nation's Russian war. And both houses Warren McKinley in an uproar. And then you have here's Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt right here. And correspondent Richard Davies. And then you have William Sampson. And then here's Roosevelt, famous picture of Roosevelt right here. And the after the Battle of San Juan Hill, which is interesting because Roosevelt recruited a lot of the men down in San Antonio at the Meager Hotel, which still exists. And so this will be an interesting read. So here's what the Maine looked like after explosion. So yeah, this would be an interesting read. A Ship to Remember, the Maine and the Spanish-American War by Michael Blow. Well, that's it, BookTube. I thank you and for watching. Like, subscribe, comment if you wish, and have a good weekend.